A few hours from now, President Trump will address the nation on critical developments on Operation Epic Fury. Earlier today, he said Iran is begging for a ceasefire, but the U.S. will bomb the regime, quote, back to the Stone Ages until the Strait of Hormuz opens. Here's the president promising to finish the job.
We're finishing the job, and I think within maybe 2 weeks, maybe a couple of days longer to do the job. But we want to knock out every single thing they have. Now, it's possible that we'll make a deal before that, because we'll hit bridges, and we've hit some. We'll hit some bridges. We've got a couple of nice bridges in mind. But if they come to the table, that'll be good.
President Trump also putting NATO allies on notice, suggesting that he may pull the U.S. out of the alliance if they aren't pulling their weight. Secretary of State Marco Rubio echoing those concerns last night.
Unfortunately, we are going to have to re-examine whether or not this alliance that has served this country well for a while is still serving that purpose, or is it now become a one-way street where America is simply in a position to defend Europe, but when we need the help of our allies, they're going to deny us basing rights and they're going to deny us overflight.
And Democrats are pouncing on gas prices hitting $4, but the president is firing back, saying the pain at the pump will be over in no time.
Please like and subscribe my channel.
On gas prices, today they hit $4.
We're at $4, yeah, and we have a country that's not going to be throwing a nuclear weapon at us in 6 months.
But Americans are feeling the effects in the interim.
And they're also feeling a lot safer.
What is the plan to bring them back down?
All I have to do is leave Iran, and we'll be doing that very soon, and they'll become tumbling down. And stock prices were up today almost to a record.
Dana, it's a big thing anytime a commander-in-chief asks for prime time, which is what he's getting.
So only a commander-in-chief can ask and be granted this opportunity to speak to this many people. And he did it in December, I believe, on affordability. And it helped for a little bit. He had the State of the Union, helped for a little bit. And then we had this, and this is now, we've been a month in. I think tonight will be very valuable. And as somebody who covers the news, I feel like I'm pretty clear on what we are doing there in Iran and what we want to accomplish. I read the stuff all day long. I listen to everything I can. But as you get farther out into the country, that's not necessarily the case. People have their lives, they're working on things, and they go to fill up their tank, and they're like, what in the world is going on? And the president has talked to a lot of reporters, and he's done a lot of social media, and it hasn't scratched the itch. And I imagine that this is something that he wanted to do early on, but he needed and wanted the element of surprise, because that's when they killed, I think, what was it, the 49 leaders that were all having brunch. And that was a huge mistake on their part, because they're no longer there. On the NATO front, I think not allowing the United States its basing rights is insanity. But I also think that there's a saying that if you want me to be there for the landing, I need to be there for the launch. And NATO is saying, well, wait, no, they have political considerations as well. They have politics that they have to deal with. Their country they're not energy efficient like we are. So it's taking them a minute. Now, on the good news front, Britain is gathering 35 countries tomorrow to say, okay, here's how we're going to help and go forward. So there's a little bit of that. Also, it's a short trading week. So the markets will be closed for the holiday, I think starting Thursday through Sunday. So maybe President Trump can get a little bit of extra time to be able to say, this is what we're trying to do, this is what we're going to do, this is what we want to do. I still feel, though, that there's this big delta between the initial invasion or bombing, in which the demand from the Iranians was unconditional surrender. And now we're like, but make a deal? But make a deal with what? Do they still get the capabilities to have a nuclear weapon? I thought that was the thing. And the president says in that clip there that the American people feel more safe now. Not sure that everyone feels that way at the moment, but he has a chance to help them tonight to understand. The last thing I would say is there's so many different audiences for this speech tonight. There's the American people, there's the US military, the US military's families who are like, well, wait, my child just got sent over. What are we doing? There's, of course, our allies, our disenfranchised allies, our adversaries, our enemies. And there's also the Iranian people. And what's really sad is that because the Iranians are so awful to their citizens, that no one in Iran will be able to hear what the president says tonight.
Yeah, that's a great point. 12,300 targets struck, 13,000 combat flights, 155 Iranian vessels sunk. Jesse, will no doubt hear about the extraordinary success of our military.
Yeah, he's going to say we're dominating and we're almost done. The regime decapitated.
Please like and subscribe my channel.
The missiles, the Air Force, the Navy, pretty much eradicated. And we've all hit their defense industrial base, so they can't rearm. And the proxy's severely weakened. We haven't heard a word from Hamas. Hezbollah is getting crushed in Lebanon. And the Houthis only fired 4 missiles since the start of the war. The uranium.
Please like and subscribe my channel.
So that's the wild card. We have hit those sites extremely hard. So there's a lot of rubble that's covering up a lot of this stuff. And we have the right to seize it, and that's out there. I don't know if he's going to pull the trigger or not, but the uranium that's left over, the Iranians are going to have to negotiate what we're going to do with that from an extremely weakened and vulnerable position. Now, I don't know what could happen in the next 2 weeks. We're doubling the amount of warthogs in theater. Those guys you're using when you have a ground assault on the coastline or an island. Those are the guys that do the close air support when you strafe the strait. And then you also see this submarine carrying probably Navy SEAL teams, which you use to insert secretively on a coastline in the dark at night. So he has a lot of options. I have no clue what he's going to do. NATO, let's just say I'm very disappointed. Need we go through how much they owe us? We saved them twice from world wars. We bailed them out with the Marshall Plan. We even lowered our tariffs to 0 so they could recover for decades. And then we helped them out with Ukraine. And all we want is...
Please like and subscribe my channel.